we are in the game in the top left-hand corner. From Team Root, it is Sage. And his opponent down in the bottom right-hand corner, hailing here from Team FXO. He cannot lose this game. If Root takes the win, they take it all. It's Leenock.
Oh man, Abyssal City. It's a map that does prompt a lot of 2-base aggressive play because that third is so hard for Protoss to grab. So you're right, there could be the strong possibility of a Sentry Immortal all-in. There is the other route that we were seeing from Brave, actually, from New Star Ho Show. You go for quick Warp Prism into some Zealot Sentry pressure, and then follow up into another aggressive play. But as for the most part, Protoss is just kind of limited when it comes to playing on this map. You need either to get some kind of advantage on your opponent or hope that they are too greedy. And that means that allows you to get your third if they play greedy. So we'll see what Sage has in store for his opponent. It's going to be really important that he nails this game. He wants to win it.
Yeah, you were talking about how Protoss is slightly limited on Abyssal City, and one of the reasons we see that is because this third base is just so far away from the natural. You have to come all the way up here. A lot of naturals would land, like, say, right here in terms of distance, be a little bit further. In fact, you have to hook all the way around, and here's your natural base. So it's quite a distance to travel to get down to this third. And consequently, you know, we see the immobility of the Protoss army often suffer on Abyssal City, where a lot of times they resort to Immortal Sentry all-ins. You take a look at this third, it's prime for the target. You can set up your army here. If you find yourself in a flank position, it's very easy to cut those forces in half with just 2 force fields. If they come in from the top, 2 does pretty much the job. It leaves a narrow little gap, so very, very good map for this build. In addition, you can push up onto these high grounds and make things exceedingly difficult as well. Force fields can trap units here on this ramp and from a flank as well.
Kibble's laying down the law, man, when it comes to this map. That's why I'm actually really
too many of them, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited for our next map pool because Abyssal City is no longer in it. I do believe the next couple of days we will have the actual map pool released. Yes, but it has been chosen. We do know it, and I think it's going to be a good one, guys.
We're actually, so we often air a show. You guys have probably seen it at the end of Friday broadcasts. It also goes on our YouTube. It's called Twilight Council, and we will be revealing the map pool for IPL 6 on the Twilight Council. So make sure to tune in, and you will hear all the latest and greatest maps from the community, chosen from, you know, tournaments as well. We have a couple that are used in tournaments around the world, but also some new maps that will be debuting for not just the IPL 6 itself, but also for the Team League and for the Heart of the Swarm tournament invitational that we will be having.
Yeah, correct. I'm really excited by this map pool. I think it's going to do really well for IPL, and it will stay around for the next season into IPTL, and then around IPL 7, I'll probably start moving into some more maps. But took a long while. We finally got it done, and we will have new maps about. So make sure to watch Twilight Council. We usually tweet it whenever we do go live with it. So of course, just pay attention to that, or of course, just watch our stream on Friday, which most likely we'll have the Twilight Council on afterwards.
Yep.
So should know by the end of the week. Also, Friday, I do believe we are casting our first Heart of the Swarm. It's going to be the qualifiers that we'll be bringing up, so keep an eye on that.
It's going to be really exciting. NA portion, I believe, is the EU is next Wednesday, and Korea will be the Friday after. Lots of great Heart of the Swarm action going to be coming. Tim, I'm sure you're really excited to be casting HOTS.
I'm actually not, because I'm afraid I'm going to screw up a lot, because I don't know the game that well quite yet. Too busy watching Wings of Liberty, so...
Good thing we have free flashcards.
That's right. I'm excited to watch the game and then learn it, but I'm kind of scared of how bad we're going to be at it for the first couple weeks.
It's going to be pretty crazy, but that's why you play-by-play man saves the day. Guys, we've now got 3 bases established here for Leenock. His natural was taken afterwards, almost wrapped up there. He's going to be transferring some drones down to that as it does complete. 38 supply to 34 is +1 is actually started up here for Sage.
Does have a third assimilator, no fourth quite yet. Does have some tech routes available to him if he would like to. He can still move into that robo, but it's getting a little bit on the late time.
This is an appropriately timed third for an Immortal Sentry all-in, though it's so common on this map, I would just be surprised if we saw it.
I find that players are starting to put the robo in the main
perfectly timed
because of the overlords, the one at the natural, and then you can get an overlord in the main pretty well also. I don't know, it's just really hard to go for the Sentry Immortal because Zergs are prepared for it. They just know it's going to happen. It's 2 base. So for the most part, you see players like Tails or any other Protoss player go for a nice, decent amount of gateways.
Yep. And
they'll fake going into third and then follow up in a Sentry Immortal just to throw off their opponent. So that could be the plan here for Sage as he does start up his first robo and moves it to the 4th assimilator.
Yeah, he's got his 4th assimilator pretty quick here, and the Robo pretty late. So really interested to see what Sage's intentions here are. We could definitely see a Twilight Council behind this with a quick +2 and an expansion. And there it is. He's actually, there's the Twilight Council, there's the Forge. The second gas was a little too fast for an Immortal Sentry all in, and I think Leenock will sense that. We actually already see this. Roach Warren's absurdly late, and he's going to lair tech. I think we'll see him keep droning here. He knows that no pressure's going to be coming his way.
Good read here from Leenock. Moving into a 3rd gas as well. Should be starting his 4th, potentially 5th and 6th as well. I want to see if he's going to go in the double evolution chamber. Pretty strong on this map as well. And if you make it to the 8-minute mark, you can get away with it pretty safely as long as you just make sure you hold his Zalnagas and watch for any push that could be coming your way. Behind this, Sage is following up into 3 more gateways. We'll be bringing his total to 4 if I remember correctly. Ooh, and Leenock does not see that tech at the top right corner because, yeah, there's double Forge here for Sage. He's going to be very similar strong to when we saw Leia go for double Forge. Your mid game is just ridiculously strong, and you get to late game, upgrade so quickly. You're so strong in the late game, so cost effective, and that's going to be the plan here for Sage.
Well, Leenock does throw down 1 evolution chamber, but not a 2nd one as of yet. He's continuing to drone up, actually. 62, and he just queued up a couple more. Only made 3 safety roaches, but he really has a fantastic read here. All the information that Leenock has, this is the actually like how good top-level players are at reading their opponents. Leenock, all he saw was this late 4th gas and this slightly late Robo, and he knows I have plenty of... Because an Immortal Sentry, all in right now, is about to move out. It's getting ready to move out. You want tons of units. Leenock, he's starting +1. He just started Burrow. He's beginning Glior Reconstitution. So, I mean, he's feeling pretty comfortable right now. He knows that no pressure's coming. And I think he just got a view of this 3rd base, actually. He did with his Overlord. Very nice.
So he started Lings. Gonna attempt to try and get a little bit of a snipe here. Not gonna be able to do too much. Of course, there are a nice amount of sentries here, but you always want to bait force field, keep that energy low of your opponent. Gonna start breaking down some rocks, and those other Lings as well are falling up straight to the middle of the natural. With all the units here, 4 Sage is kind of floating around outside the map. Oh, 3 force fields for 1 roach, a couple of Lings. Not really worth it there for Sage as he lands a 4th one as well.
All right, so Sage at this point looking like his 3rd is going to be fairly secure at this point in time. Lynx coming down, will go for the Nexus. He needs to send units and complete this wall off. This is going to be so dangerous for him if Lynx do loop in through that ramp. He's going to manage to repel these. No, heading back up to the ramp a little too quickly. Leenock coming in now, going to get off a couple of hits on that Nexus, then fall back.
Sage is doing a good job of not really biting in. Leenock is trying to get him out of position, but he's being very, very careful here.
And he does. Nice surround there on the Zealots. Not able to multitask quite as fast as his opponent. But some force fields will trap these roaches, and a nice trade in exchange for Sage.
Zealot's doing very well in holding off these Lings. I believe they have +2 attack, so again, just really kill them off very quickly. Some roaches will come straight on in and want to try and get off a few units. With a Burrow, will be able to get away.
Thing, actually.
Yeah, but they're not killing anything. Sage is doing a good job of getting small trades and winning them. Wow. He's waiting for the observer to come over. There you go. Nice job, actually, landing the force field once again. A little bit costly on energy, but he gets more roaches, so.
Well, you know, I don't think Sage intends... Let's actually take a look. If Sage intends to move out, that's a little bit more of a difficult decision. He has his double Forge, but he has stopped upgrading. Lynx continuing to come in here and harass, but Zealot's holding down the fort. It actually looks like Sage is gearing up for an attack. He's not throwing down any additional tech, no splash or anything like that on the way. He is starting to charge him +1. Oh man, Leenock's really getting ready for a big pressure. He's loading up all of his roaches and Lings into these Overlords, meanwhile taking a 4th base. But Sage is going to find it, but he doesn't have enough anti-air here, and he's got to make his way back to his main base right now.
It's going to make it straight in the main with all the army of Sage being completely out of position. A lot of damage will be done here by Leenock. Sage needs to pull his probes away before too much damage can be done, and it looks like he won't be able to pull the probes. Zealots are here to slow down the aggression, but look at the 3rd in a couple of seconds. There are a slew of roaches heading down to that bottom right corner, and they will snipe this 3rd. This is all a big distraction tactic for Leenock, so he can run straight on in, kill off these probes as well as the Nexus potentially as well, because Sage, his whole entire army is here in the main.
That's a great point. I mean, Sage is completely out of position. Now moving in with some sentries and Immortal. Good actually play there by Sage, making sure that he did have units available. And he didn't actually sustain all that much damage. 6 workers killed. He lost 1 gateway and a pylon. Units lost tab heavily favoring Sage right now. A little bit of an altercation down here, and we'll see if Sage is able to clean these units up.
Well played by Sage. I didn't see that army over sitting by the third, and he knew what Leenock was going for.
Oh, needs the force fields.
Oh, be careful here, Leenock. Sage will be able to kill off these roaches. There is Burrow available, but he's too busy looking at the natural. Going to charge on in with some lings and a couple of roaches. And Sage playing very well here, trading very cost effectively against his opponent.
Incredibly well, in fact.
He's got a lot of gas floating around because he's constantly warping in Zealots, but again, you can use that gas later on. You can really spin it very quickly as Protoss. There is a drop in the main, though. Once again, if you want to look at the very far top left corner, the roaches are coming in. He's going to kill with a couple of these roaches, but still some forces here for Sage to kill him off.
Workers killed tab has grown, however. 14 workers right now. Continuing to kill off a couple gateways as well, pylons in addition. These are nice moves by Leenock because Sage is actually really starved right now in the minerals. Sage is actually moving his whole bottom area force here out of position. Roach is coming in. He's going to pick off this cannon and then be able to get to work on the probes, some the worker count. Sage is actually doing a good job of force fielding these units right now, losing a couple of sentries, trying to fall back with those. And burrowing out is Leenock. He's going to escape with those forces. That was really dangerous for Sage, guys.
Wow. Really, Sage is playing nicely. He's not really able to go past really 130, 140 supply, but he's defending this aggression really well, especially from Leenock. Leenock is really good at tearing his opponent apart.
Out of force fields!
No, the sentries are getting caught. Immortals though still shelling out just enough damage, but it's a good force of units outside this natural as well for Leenock. So again, he's going to try and dart on in when he gets a chance, and there it goes.
Leenock is really just going for multi-pronged harass everywhere, and Sage is just, well, he's doing a good job of keeping up in workers behind this, but he's not doing any damage right now to Leenock himself.
Oh, DTs to defend this. Nice play here. We'll be able to see with his roaches, but not before the roaches kill off a few more probes. Roaches heading down the bottom right corner, going to try and get a flank in on these Immortal / Stalkers.
Oh,
and here
these
they
are
come.
important.
Charging straight on in. Can he get an Immortal kill off? And he's going to attempt to. Immortal will go down, but not before the roaches are killed off immediately. And the drop was deflected once again in the main. And Sage, he just can't get up in supply. He's slowing every attack. He falls behind about 10 more supply because he's losing gateways, not able to reinforce, exploding a lot of resources. And finally, Leenock is going to break him down in his third, which means some of the forces that were at the natural are going to have to come down and defend.
Sage doesn't seem to know where he needs to go to defend against Leenock. Has replaced this cannon quite nicely, but now he's starting to lose units, letting them get picked off. Leenock continuing to just pour in with Roach Ling. Hasn't even started mining off that fourth base yet, whereas Sage is beginning to run out of options, losing so much supply here, down by 70 at this point, and will manage to get down the force fields, but Leenock is just proving absolutely overwhelming at this point.
Roaches do make it on the force fields. I think there was a chance there for Sage to get some damage in, but we'll retreat all the way down to the natural. The Lings at the third did come up to group up with the rest of forces here for Leenock. And Leenock, 174 supply to 106 will now start darting down to the third. Some Roaches are going to get picked off as he doesn't care at the moment. He knows he's doing a hefty amount of damage. And there are some DTs starting to get mixed in, but an Overseer finally joining the army should be able to help with that, and he catches the Immortal sentries out of position. He's going to chase the Immortal down, and it will get sniped immediately, some sentries dying at the same time.
Well, Leenock is now battering down the doors of Sage, and although this map may look a little bit like Helm's Deep, it is not nearly as effective as holding off hordes of forces. And Leenock with 184 supply, Sage down to about 100 is looking in a very, very difficult position.
Some more units going to go ahead and load up in the Overlord. Looks like it's going to drop into the main very soon here. And at the same time, we had a Warpers harass happening, but Leenock catches that as well. Just sees everything on the map. The DT is constantly warping in, but with the Overseer that just got sniped, he was sniped a couple of them, but we'll force a retreat for a while here, and that Overseer just chasing around the Warp Prism as Leenock's finally getting some drones in. It looks like the spawning pool was sniped, though, for Leenock, so that's going to slow down his aggression for a little bit.
Sage is still bringing in more money than Leenock, though. Is the timer running out for Leenock? Has the aggression been held? I mean, he's poured in forces, and Sage has done, you cannot state this enough, an incredible job of holding this off. And now he's up 7 workers over his Zerg opponent from FXO. Leenock's upgrades, just +1. If we take a look at Sage, +3, +1 armor. Army supply, Leenock is quite an advantage there over his opponent. So, but that's going to change over time. So if Sage doesn't die from this next attack, he may be able to take this.
All right, well, big drop happening in the main. Roach down the bottom right. A huge amount of force fields will land with the Observer being there. He will deal with it, but there's nothing here to contend with these Roaches in the main. And they're running straight forward and kill off a few more probes. Some make their way to the natural at the same time. And this might be the point where Sage gets broken here. Just too many Roaches. Zealot charges forward, but he can't really fully engage on the Roaches in the main because, again, there's 6-7 Roaches down here in the bottom right corner. They come in and snipe some more units. Leonok is just being really good at being all over the place.
That's the thing.
Yeah, it's just Sage has advantages in a straight-up fight, but Leonok has just been all over the place where he can't get a straight-up fight.
He's been very hit and run in the main. Now he's engaging in a situation where Sage's army is actually kind of in a concave. This Immortal in the back. 0 kills because it hasn't gotten to fire a shot yet. There it finally goes, getting one off. But, yeah, Zealots in the main as Lings are actually tearing apart the mineral line. This is looking really, really bad for Sage, guys, in the third at the same time. Losing tons of probes in there. Finally, Sage dipping behind 100 supply, and I don't know if he's going to be able to climb above it once again. Immortal getting picked off in the main. This Nexus is gone. Overlord's dropping creep in the main base of Rude Sage. And although he's put up quite an incredible fight, I think Leonok might have finally broken the back.
Wow.
Wow, that was an incredibly good play out of Leonok there, guys. Sage goes down.
Really well done. Leonok just being all over the place, but again, you got to convince Sage, again, defending for, what was that, a 22-minute game?
22-minute long Roachling all in is basically what that was.
Defending against Roachlings for, I'm going to say about 15 minutes, because again, you had all the whole build up until about 8 minutes until that finally started really happening. But geez, man, Sage played so well there, just it wasn't enough. Leonok doing a great job of finally going for a full Overlord drop in the main and killing off that Nexus, which at that point, you don't have a 3-base economy anymore, you're on 2 bases. Your opponent technically has 4 bases, even though not that really saturated, and eventually he will overwhelm you.
What was so crazy was how unstoppable Leonok actually looked, because Sage had 3-1. He was 3 upgrades ahead of Leonok.
Not enough, man.
How do you beat a Protoss when you are 3 upgrades behind them? With just Roachling when they have a
By never fighting
Sentry.
the Protoss.
That's the thing.
Yep. Yes, guerrilla tactics worked really well there for Leonok, and Leonok will now tie up the series. It is 4-4. This is game number 9. Root really does have a knack for getting into game number 9. They did that against FXO EU as well 2 weeks ago when that match happened. So, guys, game number 9, this is it. Whoever wins this will make it in the Premier Division. Loser will have to fight for another chance when they next week. So let's go ahead and jump into a commercial. We'll be right back with game number 9.